Hello everybody, I'm Danrvdtree2000, also known as Danrvdtree15 on Xbox Live, and we're back again doing another WWE predictions, and this time it's for the horror show known as the WWE Extreme Rules. Yes, well, we're gonna go into a really good, it's really strange pay-per-view and with very strange stipulations, and this is going to be totally out of this world for the horror show that is known as Extreme Rules. And as I will now go into the very first matchup. As we got the first matchup, it is for the brand new United States Championship, as the current United States Champion Apollo Crews goes one-on-one with MVP at the horror show and Extreme Rules. It looks like it's just a normal matchup, folks. So for you guys that have never seen my predictions before, this is the way I do things. Indeed, and the way I do things is who I predicted is going to who WWE have booked to win, which is basically people the superstar that WWE has chosen to win the matchup, and which in this case, who I think is going to be MVP, and who I want, which is basically my own personal opinion, is Apollo Crews. Now, how we got here, well, first of all, we saw Apollo Crews defeating Andrade to become the brand new United States Champion. And then he had this little rivalry between him and Bobby Lashley, and then MVP tried to convince Apollo to join him and Bobby Lashley and to join his stable. And Apollo Crews was as well, no dice. And so, because of that, the MVP is now challenged Apollo Crews for. It's basically kind of the case: if you're not with us, you're against this type of situation, and the United States Championship is coming home where it belongs. And with MVP being a former United States champion, in fact, one of the greatest United States champions of all time, he's basically saying, "Hey, this is coming back to where it belongs. And I'm going to make that title relevant again." And I like the way that brand new United States Championship looks. If you haven't seen it, it looks beautiful. It makes that one look like a piece of crap. It doesn't, because that one just looks too, patriotic. Therefore, it's to say, hey, you got to be born in the United States to hold this title. Although that title has been in the WWE for quite some time, even the very late, I would say I think it's been in the very early 2000s, like 2005, 2007. I've seen legends such as JBL and John Cena hold that very United States Championship. So yes, I think it deserves, and even MVP has held that version that you see in this picture, that exact same United States Championship. So I think this United States Championship match will be coming towards MVP's. I think he'll have one more run as the United States Championship. But I want Apollo Crews to win because he's only just won that championship. So we'll see what happens on the Extreme Rules. And I will do my review of the Extreme Rules when it comes on, after I've seen it, of course. But I'll go on to the next match. And the next match, well, this big rivalry started when Rey Mysterio stood up for Alberto Carrillo when Seth Rollins had his problems with Aleister Black and Alberto Carrillo, and then for some godly reason, because he stood up for them too, he got his Seth Rollins took him into the corner of the steps, and he gouged his eye out. It was the worst pain I've ever seen for this, and he was out for like a month. And Dominic got involved. Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic Mysterio, got involved, and Mysterio thankfully was able to return, and now it's led to this. Because he just wants to get a revenge on Seth Rollins. He wants to the whole meaning behind the phrase "eye for an eye" means revenge. He wants to get revenge, but he made it literally. So at Extreme Rules will definitely be a horror show, because at Extreme Rules it'll be eye for an eye, as Mysterio will face Seth Rollins in an eye for an eye match. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. The way to win the matchup is to gouge and scratch and claw on your opponent's face, so much so that an eye comes out their socket. That's gonna make me feel queasy. It's gonna make anyone feel queasy. You ain't gonna be able to watch, no pun intended, how are you gonna watch that match? I don't know how it's gonna go, but one of these two men will lose an eye in this matchup, quite literally. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened apparently, but it's just the first time it's happened in WWE. So it's the actual matchup itself has happened before in AEW, and apparently I think it was between Jon Moxley and somebody, I can't remember exactly, but that's the whole, it's an eye for an eye, is exactly what it says. You gotta gouge your opponent's eye out the socket to win the match. Who do I think is gonna win? Seth Rollins. Who do I want to win? Rey Mysterio. Just because I want to see him get his revenge. You know, quite literally. Take his eye out. Here, let's just say that Seth Rollins won't about to see it coming. see. Oh well. Well, I just have to see how this one goes. I don't really know how this one's gonna end. You know what? Enough with the puns. And as we go on to the next matchup and next prediction, as I conclude with, I think it's gonna be Seth, but I want it to be Ray. Next matchup. And the next match is for the SmackDown Women's Championship, currently held by Bayley, or Bayley Dos Straps, as she also is one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions alongside her best friend Sasha Banks. And I'll get to Sasha Banks in just a moment, but let's get to her crazy, psychotic best friend of Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross. As she'll be challenging her for that championship. Again, it's not a specific type of matchup, but it's just a normal singles competition. So Bayley has the championship's advantage, and she has a reason to be smiling in this picture because of the fact, well, yeah, chances are that Bayley may actually walk out still SmackDown Women's Champion. As much as I want Nikki Cross to be the winner, I very much doubt that that's going to happen. Just because I think Bayley's going to go on for quite some time as the SmackDown Women's Champion. The horror show of Extreme Rules only has a few horrifying things in it, by the looks of things, as some of the championship matches are only going to be singles matches. So, although there's probably 1, 2, 3 championship matches that are horrifying. I mean, maybe it's horrifying enough to have Nikki Cross in the matchup. So, who knows what's going to happen for this matchup. But, as I said, I think it'll be Bayley. But, I want it to be Nikki Cross. Hopefully there's no shenanigans involved. That includes either Alexa Bliss to get involved or Sasha Banks. We shall see at a horror show known as Extreme Rules. But until then, I'll go on to the next matchup. And we're back to the next matchup, as it is Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion, defending her Raw Women's Championship against Sasha Banks, who is from SmackDown. So I don't get that. Even though it's a Raw, I think it's because of the fact that because Sasha Banks is one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, she's allowed to compete on either show. But does that mean she's allowed to compete for that show on a pay-per-view? Now, looks of things, yes. That's why she's allowed to challenge Asuka here, and that's the excuse that they're going to stick with here. It's pretty simple. It's the normal matchup, no extremeness to it, unless of course Bayley gets involved, and something's going to go down. I don't know if Asuka's going to retain here. I mean, personally, I think it'll be Sasha that's going to win here because of the whole fact that Bayley and Sasha will be double champions and they'll collide at one point because they have got too much up in here. It's too much ego. And do you know what happens when the egos collide? So, yeah, as much as I want Asuka to retain here, I think it'll be Sasha that walks out of Money in the Bank. You know, it's one of those... I don't know, it's just one of those things that's in my mind. On my heart wants Asuka, but my mind says Sasha Banks. They're both just as talented as each other. But as it's proven, I think, with Asuka has beaten Sasha Banks before. So, can she do it again? We'll find out in Extreme Rules, a horror show. And that is my predictions for this one. It's just a pretty easy, simple one, really. There's not much to tell apart from that Sasha Banks has been, even though she's the one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, she wants more. So she's challenged Asuka to the Raw Women's Championship, and she baited her in, and Asuka accepted. So, will we see a new champion? We'll find out at Extreme Rules, the horror show. Until then, we'll go on to the next match. And we're back for the next match as Drew McIntyre defends his WWE Championship against Dolph Ziggler. Now, Dolph Ziggler has been granted by Drew McIntyre to choose the stipulation in this matchup. Will it be a steel cage match? Will it be a last man standing match? Will it be a chance match? A get no stick match? An I quit match? Will it be a no holds barred? A false count anywhere inside of a hog pin? It could be any matchup stipulation that Dolph Ziggler wants. I mean, I came up with my own type of matchup that could easily happen, which will be a good way to get into Drew McIntyre's head, and it's called the loser becomes the champion match. Has that ever been done? Yeah, we've seen it somewhere on YouTube, but like that, what if it's a major what if that could be it? There's no disqualifications, there's no countouts. The only way to win is by, well, being pinned or being submitted. But I mean, the only thing is you've gotta legitimately tap out to win. You can't just put your hat. You can't just, place your opponent's arm around you like this and go, I tap out. That doesn't count. It's gotta be legit punishment. Like, so much so that you gotta egg on your opponent so much that he'll wanna go on, beat me up, beat the shit out of me. So when I'm out and cold, I win the matchup. That would be an interesting stipulation. It's because Dolph Ziggler is pretty smart. He'll probably choose something on those lines where if Drew McIntyre gets disqualified or counted out, he loses the championship. Then, you know, it's to one of the, I think that's the type of the matchup that will happen here. So if it's a brilliant move, but there are two ways that this could go. This is the way I'm going to make the prediction for this particular matchup. If Dolph Ziggler picks smart and uses his brains against Drew McIntyre, instead of because Drew McIntyre, no matter what the stipulation, I think it easily could have become. So I would try and give Drew McIntyre, if I was Dolph, a matchup where he cannot win. Don't give him a false count anywhere match. That could easily be won by Drew McIntyre. Don't give him a steel cage matchup, because even though he's got nowhere to run, neither do you. Give the last man standing, he'll beat the shit out of you so you can't stand. Do something like that. That's what I reckon he's gonna do. So basically, there's two ways. Like it's a first scenario. Dolph Ziggler tries to think smart, but he chooses a matchup that Drew McIntyre could win anyway. Then Drew McIntyre retains the title. Dolph Ziggler, he is the one that chooses a smart stipulation where, there's a big if here. I'm thinking about the whole reason behind Dolph Ziggler is Raw to begin with, because him and his tag team partner Robert Roode got traded to Raw from SmackDown. Now, here's the thing: what if it's now safe enough for Robert Roode, who's actually held back in Canada because of the coronavirus? Held back because of the lockdown reasons, and for his own health and safety, they said no, we can't allow people to travel from Canada to the United States. It's not safe. But what if now it's safe enough to do that? And if it is, I don't know nothing about no lockdown and stuff like that. But if it is, and Robert Roode's allowed to be back in the WWE, but what if the Dolph Ziggler does this? Where if he makes the matchup where if Drew McIntyre gets disqualified or counted out, Dolph Ziggler wins the championship. That way, because usually in a DQ type of situation, let's say Drew McIntyre was to attack Dolph Ziggler with a steel chair, boom, disqualified. If Dolph Ziggler was to attack Drew McIntyre with the steel chair in a normal situation from the championship, he would get disqualified. Dolph Ziggler would get disqualified. But of course, the championship advantage means that Drew McIntyre retains the title anyway. So either way, even if Drew McIntyre wins by disqualification, he retains the title. Or if he loses by disqualification, he retains the championship. So, of course, if Robert Roode was to attack Dolph Ziggler, making us believe, oh yeah, so Robert Roode's back, he's attacked Dolph Ziggler, he's put up with this shit. Then they forget the matchup was that if Drew McIntyre got disqualified, because technically he would be helping him out, meaning he got disqualified, making him Dolph Ziggler the champion. So if anything, that would be the smartest way of doing things. It probably won't be, it'll be something stupid like a last man standing or something like that. And Dolph Ziggler will probably lose. If it's a smart decision by Dolph will win. That's my predictions for this one. I can't go who I think and who I want because I don't know the stipulation. So can't make my prediction. So put it this way: if it's a stipulation that where Dolph makes a mistake and he loses, where he gives it like a false count anywhere or something, then Drew McIntyre wins. If he makes a smart decision, like the type of matchup I just said, then I think that Dolph Ziggler will win. That is my prediction for this match, and I'm gonna go on to the next one. Whatever. It's the whatever. Well, and it's time for the main event, folks. And this one's gonna be scary. This is what the horror show means to WWE Extreme Rules. We have the Universal Champion Braun Strowman defending his Universal Championship in a cinematic Wyatt swamp fight against the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt, who is back and is one of his old. He's basically Mick Foley. He has 3 faces. He has the happy-go-lucky. He has the happy-go-lucky Bray Wyatt. That's part of the Firefly Funhouse, who defeated the Miz and Survivor Series, I'd like to think it was. Then we have the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, who defeated, I think it was Money in the Bank, defeated Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. Then we got the Eater of Worlds, former WWE Champion Bray Wyatt, who won the Elimination Chamber, and all those matches that I mentioned, he was champion. He became WWE Champion at Elimination Chamber. He became Universal Champion at Money in the Bank, and he's going to become Universal Champion in this swamp fight. And there's no doubt about it. Braun Strowman may be a monster among men. He was born as part of the Wyatt family, and he will die as part of the Wyatt family in this swamp. Yes, chances are, I think that Bray Wyatt's going to lose to Braun Strowman, because I think that Braun Strowman will just destroy Bray Wyatt. But if this is going to be another one of those cinematic masterpieces, well, the last time Bray Wyatt was in a cinematic matchup, it didn't go too well, because it was that, stupid House of Horrors matchup, and that was icky. But for the last few months, we've had, let's see, the first one was at I think it was at WrestleMania. I think they even had like no, it was on like NXT. Like one of the first ones was NXT lately. Apparently that was really good. Then we had the one at Money in the Bank. Oh, well, even we had the Boneyard match between Undertaker and AJ Styles. That was brilliantly done. And then we had recently the Money in the Bank matchup itself, taking place at the Titan Towers, as it's called. Titan Towers, as I think is what it's called, the WWE headquarters. That was brilliant. It had everything. So if this matchup is anything like this Boneyard match, there'll probably be a cameo from a former WWE superstar, which I think probably will happen just to get a paycheck just once and appear, just to beat up Braun Strowman for a bit. And I think we'll see Eric Rowan again, just for once. There's no way in hell we'll see Luke Harper. No way in hell. I think that Eric Rowan will show up, but I don't think Luke Harper will show up because he's, the whole Brody Lee thing. Yeah. That one, I don't think that's gonna happen, and you couldn't pay him anything. Maybe a few scary little kids singing "He's got the whole world in his hands," or might even see Sister Abigail. Who knows? Anything can gonna see alligators, rattlesnakes, you name it. Something will happen, but it's gonna be extreme. It's gonna be a horror show. It's gonna be for the Universal Championship. I want Bray Wyatt, but I think Braun Strowman. What's gonna happen? You'll have to find out at the horror show. And man, boy, I can't wait for that. Well, that is the last matchup. ladies and gentlemen. And that was the predictions for the horror show at Extreme Rules. I may know, in all seriousness, no, well, I think they were missing a matchup on the WWE .com, and I believe that was for the SmackDown Tag Team titles where Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura will take on Big E and Kofi Kingston, the SmackDown Tag Team titles in a tables match. So very quickly, just because I can't show you because they haven't got it on there, I'll just tell you who I'm thinking who I want's going to win that one. I think that Cesaro and Sheamus are going to win, but I want the New Day. But hey, thanks for watching anyway. I'm Danrvdtree2000, also known as Danrvdtree2000 on Xbox Live, and it's here on over the horror show that Extreme Rules. Bye bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to watch the previous video, click on the video on the left. But if you want to watch the playlist, then click on the video on the right. Also, feel free to click subscribe by clicking on the Master Chief icon on the top.